Every few months, a certain question starts circulating again and again. Should under 16-year-olds be banned completely from social media? And even now, the UK is actively discussing whether this should be brought into law. And every time the conversation is getting split into two groups. One side says that banning kids is unrealistic, controlling, or just out of touch for today's society.
So should under 16s be banned from using social media or having smartphones? How ridiculous, I hear you say, and yet this was said by a Conservative Member of Parliament.
The United Kingdom has a strong tradition of legislating to protect children from serious threats to their safety and welfare. So does my right honourable friend agree with me that it's time to consider banning social media and perhaps even smartphones for under 16s?
Yep, you ought to be banned. Not treated as grown-ups in any way at all, to have no access to a smartphone. The whole thing is ludicrous. I promise you one thing, folks, I would never do this to you.
The other side says that letting kids online is reckless and ultimately very dangerous.
Australia's under 16 social media ban is a good idea. I think the problem arises when kids can comment and make their own videos and send DMs and be specifically targeted by the platforms.
And honestly, I don't think either side is fully wrong. But I also don't think we are asking the right questions here. Because when we seem to be talking about kids and social media, the focus seems to be more on screen time, whereas I don't think that should be the focus. I think the real issue is access. So today I really want to slow this conversation down and just have a proper in-depth talk about it. Not to panic and not to kind of moralise things, but just to kind of discuss whether the online environment at the moment is at all compatible with a younger generation and ultimately children. If you're new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and join us on the road to 1,000 subs. I would love you to be a part of this little corner of the internet. So I want to be very clear in where I'm coming from here. This isn't like, oh, kids these days type of rant. It isn't necessarily coming from a place of nostalgia. And I don't want to pretend and say that the internet is inherently evil. I have made videos before on this page talking about online spaces that are actively very unsafe for young people, from grooming risks on Roblox to unmoderated chat rooms in places like Omegle, to the rise of influencers whose content just really is not suitable for young impressionable audiences, and that their content is going into kids' feeds whether they like it or not. So this video isn't just to be like hypothetical from me. It's really built on patterns that we have already seen and that we are normalizing day to day. I think one of the really biggest disconnects in this whole conversation is how adults view children using the internet. You know, we're just seeing on a very plain surface, posting photos, talking to your friends, watching some funny videos on YouTube or TikTok. But that isn't the full picture anymore. And I don't think it has been for a long time. Kids just aren't on social media. They are in live chats. They're in voice channels. They are DMing with strangers at such easy access. They are getting algorithmically curated feeds straight onto their devices, and they are forming some sort of parasocial relationships with people they don't know, with adults online. We are seeing that with a lot of fans and how they idolize some of these big influencers.
Anyone can watch you and build some sort of like parasocial mindset with any streamer or content creator they watch, and it's dangerous. So I have a crazy fan that actually flew in from out of state. He ended up staying at the airport for multiple days and recording videos of himself saying like, I'm not leaving until Ray picks me up. It was like, if she goes to Coachella without me, I'm gonna be really disappointed, and I'm just sad that like she wanted me to fly out here and she's not even coming to like pick me up. I know that she wants to see me, and it's like really crazy.
And most crucially, they are navigating this without an adult level of judgment, boundaries, or even context. We didn't grow up online the way that kids are growing up online now. How my childhood was will be completely different to a kid's childhood now. And I'm 24, so it's not like I'm that far away from my teenage years. There is no offline childhood now to balance out the online activities. There is a part that I think people are very uncomfortable talking about, but it is something that genuinely matters and is a big part of the context here. The grooming risks aren't rare, they are very much real and there. When I talked about grooming risks on platforms like Roblox, what stood out to me wasn't that bad people just existed. It's that the platforms are built in a way where that access is so easy to get. Private chats, friend systems, role play spaces, video communication. We are allowing instant access to strangers in places that children can access this. Grooming doesn't rely on dark corners or private spaces. It relies on just normalized interaction online. And right now, kids are being constantly encouraged to be social, constantly responsive, and constantly online. The line between safe and unsafe is getting blurred consistently and rapidly. I don't want to be like, this is strange danger in an old sense, but this is about a prolonged access to online communities that are really designed to keep people engaged. And realistically speaking, out in the real world, you would not let a child sit and speak to a stranger. Why are we letting children do this online? And I want to touch on it again, but kind of the Omegle problem and why it really matters. Platforms like Omegle are a perfect example why parental supervision isn't just a full solution. We have unmoderated chat rooms and random parents with no real accountability, and yet kids still found their ways there, often out of curiosity or boredom or just peer pressure, which is teaching us again something important. If these spaces exist, children will find them, especially when it starts to become framed as something secret or edgy or something that isn't built for them. So when we say to adults, monitor what your kids are doing, we really ignore just how fast these platforms are evolving and how little transparency there actually is. Another thing I really want to talk about is just influence in general. Algorithms don't care how old you are. It matters that you are watching. They get exposed to content that is sexually framed, manipulative, adult coded, or built around shock and controversy. I've talked before about figures like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips. They are just a few of the examples, and not because they just exist on these platforms, but because their content is circulating a lot farther than just their intended audience. Kids don't just seek this stuff out, it finds them. I'll be honest, we are also seeing creators manipulating the way that they make their content for how it shows up in an algorithm. A key example is the whole thing with Lily Tino.
Disney's gonna ban me for this one. My corn dog is still intact. I'm not happy about that, but sadly it takes a long time to turn a corn dog into a inverted corn dog. Okay, I'm actually impressed that I'm doing this good of a job. Like so, flip it inside out and make something of a tunnel.
They were making content about their gender reassignment surgeries or what happens in gender reassignment surgeries, and they were portraying it in a way that was very similar to a very infamous children's entertainer at the moment, Miss Rachel, I believe she's called.
Hi friends! Today we're going to talk about something super important, what it means to be transgender. It's a big word, but I promise that it's easy to understand. Ready to learn? The first thing I want you to do is close your eyes. Now think, do you feel like a boy, a girl, or a little bit of both?
The content was not suitable for, it was very young children. Her content is aimed at probably toddlers and very, very small children. And she was promoting content about things that were really inappropriate. And this is just free to circulate on apps like TikTok. And when young people are still forming their ideas around self-image, identity, relationships, and boundaries, and just the world as a greater image, they are still forming their ideas and they're being raised by algorithms that are built for adults, and it's concerning. If we talk about the ban, I don't think the most ideal thing is probably banning under 16-year-olds. It isn't a perfect solution. Kids will lie about their age. We see it day in, day out on different types of social media, on anywhere online. They'll find workarounds, they'll move to new platforms, and they might be seeking out ways of doing it that are more dangerous than what we actively have at the moment. And banning alone doesn't increase their awareness of digital literacy, crucial thinking, or boundaries. So I don't think a blanket ban is magically going to fix the problem. But I do think when there's a resistance to any type of restriction, that it's saying something really uncomfortable. Why aren't we wanting to protect these children? Who are we protecting? The question that I keep coming back to is, who benefits from children being online this young? Because It's not the kids and it's not the parents. It's platforms, it's advertisers, it's data brokers and engagement metrics, and unfortunately some very dodgy people online. Childhood has become a market, and when something becomes profitable, we tend to call it inevitable, even when it is harmful. So do I think under 16s should be banned from social media? I think that the current version of social media is fundamentally incompatible with childhood, whether that means bans or strict age gating or radically redesigning platforms, that is up to debate. But I think when we are pretending that kids can just safely navigate these adult spaces with child level support, it's just unrealistic. Boundaries aren't there to be punishment for these children, it's there for protection. I don't think this conversation should be about control or trying to install this kind of fear, and it's not about blaming parents. That isn't the conversation we're having. We have normalized something that is so still new to us, that is incredibly powerful, and in the wrong hands, incredibly dangerous, because it is still under regulated, and we just hand that to children. And now people are acting surprised when it goes wrong. I don't think it's that kids need zero internet access, but I do think there needs to be an online world that is built for them, that doesn't exploit them. Childhood shouldn't mean that we are normalizing being accessible to strangers, being shaped by algorithms, and learning about adulthood before you're even ready to have those conversations. So whether or not you believe in the ban, I think the conversation really is, we've prioritized convenience and profit over safety, and we have called it normal. I'd love to really hear what you think. Do you think we should be banning under 16-year-olds? Do you think it's just a thing of regulations? Do you think there's not really a problem at all? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I do think realistically they just need to be navigating the way of handling social media for young people a lot differently. I think on the flip side though, there are a lot of young people who will just navigate any boundaries that are there. If there's an age gate, they'll try and get through it somehow, or they can't access something they want, they will probably go to a lot more unregulated routes, which arguably is a lot more dangerous. A current conversation I have seen at the moment is related to the adult content website. I don't know if I can say if it'll flag on YouTube, but we all know which website we're on about. The UK has had a lot more restrictions placed on it now. You have to have an age verified account. I believe they've now put a ban in place that you can't even make an account now if you're from the UK. I'm not really too sure why. However, there is now, I believe, a increase in people accessing unregulated websites, and potentially then a lot more unethical and dangerous content. Do I disagree with the age regulations? No, but it's then a very difficult conversation of, well, if people are going to access it, they will find a way to access it, and if we are taking away the safe avenues, then what's going to happen? And I'm not necessarily saying that children should be viewing that content. They definitely shouldn't be, but I think that is one example of, if people want to view these websites, they will view them however they find the way to do it. And it's scary, and it's a very in-depth, tricky conversation. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like it down below and subscribe to the channel. We do lots of videos like this, and if you want to let me know any ideas of things you do want to see, just comment down below and give me some ideas. I would love to know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Be sure to check this video out. I'm pretty sure it's a good one.